So let's start today's session uh, where we have continued yesterday. So we have seen locator techniques with name, class name, ID and link text XPath. So these are the different locator techniques used across to identify element in the page, right? So we have seen a situation where if an object changes, for example, if an XPath changes for every refresh of the browser, okay, basically that object is dynamic. Fine. If it is dynamic, then how you will write an XPath by making it, you know, static. So how you write your own XPath? Let's see that now. So you got question, yeah. Here, one second. Right. I'll try to spy on the login button here. See, this is a constant or variable. Okay, I think it's constant because yesterday also when we have seen ID is same, right? So you can directly use this and say driver dot find element by the XPath this and dot click. It will work. But what if this ID changes every time? So next time when you try to give the same XPath, the test case will fail, saying that now ID is different. So this kind of scenario we say as dynamic objects. So then how you have to go with an XPath when there is something dynamic keeps on changing for every refreshing of the browser. Okay, you can overcome it by writing an variable XPath. Okay, to handle these dynamic objects. So now I'll show you how to design our own XPath. It's very simple. Syntax is // tag name, the rate of attribute equals to value. That's all. This is the syntax of the own customized XPath. Right now, when you spy in the login button, this is the related HTML properties for that button, right? That got highlighted. First, bring out, copy the entire HTML related properties for that object. Copy it here. Now come down. So what is tag name here? See, tag name starts after this arrow. If you have the basic of HTML, it will be in this way. Okay, this arrow, tag name, and finally tag close. So whatever comes after the first right-handed arrow is called tag name. Tag name, attribute, and this is the value. Okay, in this sentence, tag name is input, okay. So just what I'm doing here, it's very simple. I found that, once again I'll tell you the situation. You may think that why we are going with kind of XPath, taking our own headache to write our own XPath rather than taking it from the file path. So as I told you, if there is something dynamic which changes on continuously, we need to come up with our own customized XPath. So now right now I'm explaining the way to write the own XPath. Okay, this is the syntax. Now the first and foremost step you need to do is spy here and click on login button. Take the property of that login button. See, the blue highlighted in this screen was the properties related to login button. First of all, capture entire this login button, paste it here, right? So here tag name is input, attribute equals to id, because id is an attribute. Value for that id attribute is this one. So value equals to this. Now for same input there is one more attribute called type, and value for the type is submit. We have one more attribute called tab index. See, now for one login object, developer has written 4 attributes. One is ID, type, tab index, value. 4 are the attributes written by the developer, and the values for those corresponding attributes are written after that equals to. For this ID, this is the value, and for this type attribute, submit is the value, and for value attribute, login is the value. Okay, so these are the attributes and values for this login button, and tag name is input. So now what I told, this is the syntax for writing own XPath, right? Slash slash, take a tag name, it's input, and so attribute equals to value. So you need to select at one of the attribute out of this 4. We found that UOE is varying every time. Okay, on each opening the browser every time, this value is dynamic. So this is ruled out. Why to take a risk by going with this? We already found that this was changing. That's the reason we are coming to the our own XPath. So don't use this one and use this login because it's like unique, right? This is also attribute. You can use anything. So what it says, at the rate, as per syntax, at the rate attribute. Here I am selecting value attribute. So value equals to, and what is the value for that attribute? Login. Okay, attribute equals to value. So here attribute name its value. Okay, don't confuse. Here it's nothing but the attribute name was value. Just substitute here this equals to this. That's all. Login. That's all. This is our own XPath for login button. You can write this also. Slash tag name, at the rate. You can select this attribute also. Type equals to value for it, submit. So I'm just writing this my own XPath based upon this standard syntax. Remember this standard syntax. Okay, submit. That's all. Cool. These are, you can take any of the XPath out of these two. That's up to you. Okay, now let's go and implement that in Eclipse and check. I'll comment out this. I'll create a new package. I think you are clear by now how to create a class. If you are not sure about this step, right, creating a class, and what about interface definition and why we are using this sentence, please go through my earlier class sessions, because I have clearly explained the reason for creating the Firefox driver class and the way to create object for the class. And this concept is called runtime polymorphism. Fine. So as I told you, when you get an error, move your mouse and import that package here. If you have doubt, I think you can watch the day 2 session, I guess. So to open the URL, the method is get. So driver dot, what I need to do, I need to find an element, by, I'm finding with the help of XPath, right? XPath, and I'll take this login dot click. That's all. It will just click on login button. It will do nothing. Okay. It will open Firefox browser, and this is the site, and it will click on login button. Okay. It's very simple and straightforward. But what is the difference between yesterday's program and today's program? In today's program, I am not taking the help of FirePath. Okay, I am not taking the help of this FirePath. I am directly spying on my login button, taking my HTML properties, pasting in the notepad, and according to the syntax, I found my own XPath, because the XPath which FirePath gave was using ID attribute here. Now did you get what I am trying to tell? So unfortunately, they are using ID attribute here to generate XPath. FirePath is using that, but in this case, ID is changing. So as ID is changing, XPath also will fail, because this XPath was built based upon ID attribute. So what I done was, I have created my own XPath. In the place of ID attribute, I took some other attribute, because ID is differing. So I went with type or value attribute. That's it, and I pasted it here. Now it should work fine. Just remember that syntax. That's all. I'll share this notepad with you for a kind of reference. Okay. Today I'll send out. I also will send out these 3 codes: day 3, day 4, day 5. You just copy and paste in your machines and work. Okay. Yeah, whoever have missed yesterday class, you might look some kind of new things here, but just go through my yesterday class and come back to today class, then you will have a clear idea, because yesterday we have discussed what is XPath, what are location techniques and all. So it's like sequence. So what I request to people is, if you miss today's session, before coming for the next session, please make sure that you go through the today's session, because every session is linked here. The person who didn't attend yesterday cannot get the things today, and even who misses today cannot get tomorrow. So everything is linked. Okay, now you see here, it clicked on login button and it reached this page. Fine. So that's how we go with our own XPaths.